But
So there's just some LED strips in there. It needs to be repaired for sure.
yeah.
So this is the Baltimore Node. We've got one of the art projects we do are these super large 3D printed crowdsourced sculptures. So this is Ben Franklin. And we scanned we scanned a sculpture and then scaled it up really big in the computer, and then chopped it up into a couple hundred pieces and put those pieces up on the website on wethebuilders.com. So anybody around the world could join up, download a STL file, and it's just like one section. So you get one of these blocks. When you 3D print it, you label where the coordinates are, because it'll say like the XYZ coordinates of where it is in the sculpture. And then people from like Beijing and London and like Ecuador, we got parts from all over the world, and they sent it to us, and they could customize however they wanted, like whatever color or whatever material, and send them all to Baltimore, and we glued them all together to build that. So our space is like this area here and then upstairs, but the owner of the building, his shop is over there, and he's a member also, and he repairs player pianos, like the super vintage, awesome, you know, roll-based player pianos. So he'll tell you about that. Right now we kind of just have this as storage, but there are plans for using this area. We have like a calendar here where we kind of update sometimes some of the classes we're hosting, but a lot of that is also on the internet, on Meetup. But for the most part, the node's just a space to come and do projects. There's not too much programming and things. So I guess I'll give you a quick tour. A lot of members come here for the woodshop because we have a whole bunch of woodworking tools. So this whole section here is primarily for the woodworking. So there's table saw, bandsaw, the CNC router, which is a 5-foot by 12-foot machine that can carve based on the computer. So you design something in the computer and it'll go and make it for you. There are a couple wood lathes. There's a jointer and planer and dust collection system, chop saw, drill press, and then we try to keep the dusty things on this side of the shop. The one metal tool that we have over here is this one. It's really old. It's on it. It can cut metal. So you flip the switch on, you put your metal part there, and then the weight of it will cut through the metal, and then it'll turn itself off that way. And then we'll often sand in this area, so we have dust collection set up for that. And it's by the garage, so you can't really drive up through here. But we have a forklift, so if you have big things, you can pick it up this way. And then a bunch of tools here in these different drawers. So there's like saw blades, drill bits, and things like that. And then there's more hand tools over in this area. So there's like the power tools and, you know, palm sanders and circular saws and, yeah, a bunch of fancy things like that. And more tools in here. Yeah, a sandblaster, so you can hook this up to the air compressor, which put your PC working in the side. And then you reach in here and there's gloves and the sprayer, so there's this like corn husk or kind of media in there right now, and it goes and polishes. And then over here is more of the metal work, so there's metal cutting, there's the presses like this, there's a bigger one underneath the table, metal drill press, metal lathe, metal mill, flex shaft for polishing metal, grinding wheels, and those kinds of brushes. And then this whole back wall here is member storage. So if you're a member, you pay $50 a month, you get a key, 24/7 access, an equal vote, so you can have equal say in what happens in the organization. You can run workshops and you get storage. So we tell you, you come in here, you find a spot on the shelf, you like split up a cubby or bring in a container and keep your stuff there. So this whole back wall is for members to keep their things. And then we'll head over to the electronics section. And there's some welding equipment and an aluminum furnace, and those are kind of outside things. Some like waist-high work tables, work on things here. There's electronics and those kinds of tools over here. like soldering stations and fume hood, or fume collectors, a bunch of capacitor resistor kind of small components. What else we got? There's like the hot glue gun over here, the oscilloscope, power supply, and then some storage for electronics things. There's microcontrollers and Arduinos and wires and clips and those kinds of things. There's sewing machine under here and those kinds of craft things with ribbons and thread. And then over here is like the digital fabrication room. There's some 3D printing and laser cutting and vinyl cutting in here. So this computer is set up to run the vinyl cutter, so you can cut stickers and those kinds of things. Here, the laser cutter gets a lot of use, and that's for cutting natural materials and acrylic, yeah, a lot of different materials. So that's also controlled by the computer, just like the 3D printer as well. So you make your design in the computer and then realize it, bring it into the real world. And then over here, you do a lot of casting and painting. So we keep that over here. Mostly it's resin casting. I do some pewter casting, and there's like a melting pot on the side here that gets to around 800 degrees that can melt that pewter, and then you can pour pewter directly into acrylic or silicone molds, or because it's really low temp, so that's really exciting. Next to it is a little desktop kiln and a little electromelt furnace, so that's for higher temp metals. And we have a little vacuum chamber that I set up here using these holes. We have a hose that can come through the table and suck air out of a part or pressurize a part in the pressure pot. So that's hooked up to the air compressor that's under the table and the vacuum pump that's under the table. But yeah, you can make molds like this, really simple molds or more complex molds, and pour resin in and then get the parts out. Yeah. So this is the pressure pot. It's like an old paint can. There's the vacuum pump and then the air compressor. This room is the clean room, so it's not like clean like no particles in the air. It's just, it has a door and people don't work on messy projects in here. So sometimes there's like programmers in here or electronics work, but not anything that makes dust. We have a projector in here, so if someone wants to run a class, they can project things up on the wall. There's some books. Yeah.
Kitchenette of sorts.
Yeah, mostly for science, but I guess you can reheat some food over there. So there's a toaster oven up here that says no food, only science. We used to have one that said no science, only food, but no one was using it, so we got rid of it. And then one of the neat things we have is this TV screen that has a Chromecast hooked up to it with a public folder, so anyone can add photos to the URL that's listed on the sticker. And if you have a cool project you want to do show and tell or something, you can drop in that photo into that folder, and then it'll show up here on the screen. So it's pretty easy to do because TVs like this you can get cheap. Just needs Wi-Fi internet connection, and then the Chromecasts I think are $30 or so. So it's a neat way to share your projects with people.
Yeah. Alrighty.